All right, let's dive right in and tackle one of the most famous and frankly most feared questions in any finance interview. Walk me through a DCF. We are going to break down exactly how you can absolutely nail this answer.
There it is. This question. It trips up so many incredibly smart candidates. And you know why? It's not just a test of your technical knowledge. It's a test of how well you can communicate a really complex idea when you're under pressure.
And this is where it all goes wrong for so many people. The number one pitfall, without a doubt, is getting lost in the weeds. You start rambling about tax shields, beta calculations, all this jargon, and you can literally see the interviewer's eyes glaze over. You've lost them. See, the key isn't to prove you're a walking textbook, it's to show you get the big picture.
So how do you avoid that trap, right? How do you take this question that gives everyone so much anxiety and actually turn it into your moment to shine? Well, it's a lot simpler than you think.
What you need is a roadmap, a simple, high-level framework that gives your answer structure. It shows the interviewer that you think like a strategist, not just someone who can punch numbers into a calculator.
And that is exactly what we're going to build, right here, right now. I'm talking a powerful 5-step framework that's going to be your secret weapon for delivering the perfect answer every single time.
And here it is, the 5 pillars of a DCF. It's pretty logical, right? First, we project out a company's cash flows for a few years. Then, we figure out what it's worth for all the years after that. Third, we have to pull all that future money back to what it's worth today. Fourth, we adjust that total company value to get what the shareholders own. And finally, we get to a price per share. Let's walk through each one.
Oh, and a quick but super important point here. We're talking about an unlevered DCF. What does that mean? It just means we're valuing the business itself, its core operations, totally separate from how it's financed with debt. This is the industry standard, and it's what your interviewer is expecting to hear.
So, let's start at the beginning. Step 1, forecasting the cash. This is really the engine of the entire valuation. Everything is built on this.
And the specific thing we're trying to forecast is called unlevered free cash flow. Just think of it like this. It's the pure, raw cash the business generates after it pays its taxes and reinvests in itself, but, and this is key, before it has to make any payments to its lenders.
So how do we get there? High level, you start with operating profit, EBITDA. Then you got to pay your taxes, so you subtract those. Next, you add back any non-cash expenses, like depreciation and amortization. Then you subtract any money the company spends on big stuff, like new factories or equipment. That's capital expenditures. And last, you adjust for the cash needed for day-to-day operations, which is called net working capital.
I know that net working capital part can sound a little abstract, so here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine you're opening a pizza shop. You can't sell any pizzas until you buy all your ingredients first, right? The flour, the cheese, the tomatoes. Well, that cash you have to spend on inventory before you make your first dollar, that's a perfect example of an investment in working capital.
Okay, so we've forecasted cash for, let's say, 5 or 10 years. But what happens after that? A good company doesn't just stop existing. That's where terminal value comes into play. It's basically one single number that represents the entire value of the business from the end of our forecast on into the future, forever.
And there are really 2 main ways people calculate this. The perpetuity growth method just assumes the company will grow at some slow, steady pace, kind of like the overall economy, forever. The exit multiple method is more of a shortcut. It just assumes you sell the business at the end of your forecast for a price based on what similar companies are selling for. The important thing to remember is they're just 2 different ways of trying to estimate the same concept.
Okay, so now we have all this future money, right? We have our cash flow forecast for each year, plus that one big terminal value number at the end. But here's the thing. $1 tomorrow is not worth the same as $1 today. So we've got to bring all that future value back to the present. And the tool we use for that is a discount rate called the weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. Just think of WACC as a blend. It combines the expected return for everyone who put money into the company, both the lenders and the owners, into one single rate that reflects the total risk of the business. So when we take all those future cash flows and that terminal value and we discount them all back to today using our WACC, what we get is the enterprise value. This is it. This is the total value of the company's core business. Think of it as the sticker price if you were to buy the whole company. But we're not quite done yet. Enterprise value is for the whole company. But what we really want to know is what's left for the owners, the shareholders. So to get there, we start with that enterprise value. Then we subtract the company's debt, because a new owner would have to pay that off.
But we also get to add back any extra cash the company has sitting around. And what's left over? That's the equity value.
Okay, we've gone through all the pieces. Forecasting the cash, calculating the value way out in the future, discounting it all back, and then bridging to what the owners get. Now let's put it all together into that perfect, clean, interview-winning answer.
And remember the golden rule we started with. Please remember this. Your job is not to give a lecture on every little detail. Your job is to present this clean, logical framework. You stay high level. If the interviewer wants to know how you think about WACC or working capital, believe me, they will ask. Let them pull you into the weeds.
So when that moment comes and the interviewer says, walk me through a DCF, you just take a breath and you walk them through this exact framework. You sound structured, you sound confident, and you sound crystal clear.
This right here, this is your answer. It is short, it hits every single critical step, and it uses the right language without getting bogged down. It proves you get the entire process from start to finish. I would honestly practice saying this out loud until it feels totally natural. This is your golden ticket.
See, once you've mastered this framework, you have the confidence to handle not just that first question, but all of the follow-up questions that are going to come your way. You've essentially built the house. Now you're ready to talk about the furniture in every room. So the only question left is, which detail are you going to master next?